Imagine this. You're cruising through life on autopilot, everything falling perfectly into place. Your career humming along like a well-oiled machine, relationships blooming with effortless harmony, and that cozy sense of security wrapping around you like a warm blanket on a chilly night. Then, without warning, the rug is yanked out from under you. The job vanishes in a corporate shuffle. The love fades into echoes of what once was. Or a sudden crisis flips your world upside down, leaving you gasping in the dust. Do you curl up in defeat, lash out at the universe's cruelty? Or do you dust yourself off, eyes wide with a fierce determination, and charge into the fog of uncertainty, ready to rewrite your story? That's the electrifying dilemma pulsing through a parable so deceptively simple yet profoundly life-altering that it's reshaped the destinies of countless souls. Come with me now, not as a passive observer, but as an active explorer, diving headfirst into a labyrinth where every shadowy corner hides a mirror to your own fears and dreams. In this twisting maze of endless possibilities, for quirky inhabitants chase after the ultimate prize, cheese. But oh, this cheese isn't mere sustenance. It's the embodiment of our deepest yearnings, from the thrill of achievement to the comfort of belonging, the spark of passion to the bedrock of stability. As their saga unfolds like a gripping novel you can't put down, you'll spot fragments of your own journey in their scurries and stumbles, and perhaps emerge with a newfound zest to hunt down your own elusive treasures. Our tale kicks off not amid the cold stone walls of the maze, but in the lively buzz of a Chicago high school reunion, where former classmates cluster around tables groaning under plates of appetizers, their voices weaving a tapestry of nostalgia and revelation. There's Michael, the charismatic ringmaster of the group, whose roller coaster ride through the cutthroat world of business has left him with scars and stories aplenty. As the chatter ebbs and flows, touching on vanished careers that once defined them, evolving bonds that tested their resilience, and aspirations that morphed in ways they never imagined. Michael leans forward, his eyes sparkling with that knowing glint. "Let me tell you about something that flipped my perspective during my toughest times," he says, his tone laced with intrigue that silences the table. It's a little story called "Who Moved My Cheese?" And just like that, we're whisked away into the heart of the maze, where the real drama simmers, ready to draw us in with its relatable chaos and timeless truths. Picture the maze in all its enigmatic glory. A vast, ever-shifting network of corridors that snake and spiral like the convoluted paths of our own lives, with high walls that loom ominously, casting long shadows that play tricks on the mind. The air is thick with anticipation, carrying faint whiffs of distant rewards, while the ground underfoot echoes with the patter of determined feet. Here dwell our four protagonists, each a unique blend of traits that echo the diverse ways we humans tackle adversity. First up are Sniff and Scurry, the dynamic duo of mice whose survival savvy is as instinctive as breathing. Sniff, with his perpetually quivering nose, is the ultimate early warning system, always attuned to the subtlest changes in the environment, much like that astute colleague who senses a shift in office politics before the memos fly or a savvy investor who spots market trends bubbling beneath the surface. He's not one for deep analysis. He just knows when something's off, and that intuition keeps him agile. Then there's Scurry, the bundle of kinetic energy, who doesn't waste a second pondering. He launches into motion with the speed of a sprinter at the gun, his tiny paws blurring as he navigates obstacles with unbridled enthusiasm. Together, they're a testament to the power of simplicity. No ego, no overcomplication, just pure, effective adaptation that gets results every time. Contrasting sharply are Hem and Haw, the two little people who, despite their diminutive size matching the mice, carry the weight of human complexity on their shoulders. Emotions that swirl like storms, thoughts that tangle into knots, and fears that can paralyze like quicksand. Hem embodies the stubborn resistor, the one who digs his heels in against any whisper of change, clinging to the status quo with a ferocity born of comfort and familiarity. He's like that family member who refuses to learn new technology because the old way works just fine, or the employee who balks at company restructuring, convinced it's a personal affront. Haw, meanwhile, starts off as Hem's cautious counterpart, hesitant and reflective, but with a latent curiosity that simmers beneath the surface, waiting for the right spark to ignite into bold action. He's the everyman grappling with doubt, the one who questions but eventually evolves, mirroring those moments in our lives when we teeter on the edge of transformation. Every dawn, these four set out on their ritual quest through the maze's labyrinthine passages, their senses heightened for the scent of success. The maze itself pulses with life, dead ends that frustrate and force backtracks, hidden alcoves that promise respite, and unexpected forks that demand quick decisions. Feel the chill of the stone against their skin, hear the distant drips of water amplifying the solitude, and sense the growing excitement as elusive aromas tease their progress. After innumerable false starts and weary detours, fortune smiles. They discover Cheese Station C, a cavernous haven brimming with mounds of glorious cheese in every conceivable flavor. Sharp cheddars that bite with zest, creamy bries that melt on the tongue, exotic varieties infused with herbs and nuts that tantalize the palate. For Sniff and Scurry, this bounty is approached with pragmatic routine. They arrive at the crack of dawn, sample judiciously to fuel their energies, and maintain their vigilance, noses and eyes scanning for any hint of depletion. They notice the gradual thinning of the stacks, the edges growing stale, the piles shrinking imperceptibly, but they don't fret or analyze. They simply file it away, their instincts primed for adjustment. It's a masterclass in mindfulness without the meditation apps. Staying present, observing without attachment. But for Hem and Haw, the discovery unleashes a wave of unbridled joy that quickly morphs into entitlement. At first, they're as eager as the mice, bounding to the station with wide-eyed wonder, savoring heaping portions that fill them with contentment. As the days stretch into a blissful routine, however, complacency creeps in like fog over a meadow. They start sleeping in, arriving fashionably late, sprawling out amid the cheese to chat and daydream, even going so far as to drape their running shoes over a hook on the wall, symbolically retiring from the hunt. Haw might share a light-hearted joke about their good fortune, while Hem puffs up with pride, declaring, "See, our smarts got us here. This is our reward, and it's here to stay." It's a scene straight out of human nature's playbook. Recall that time you nailed a big client at work, basking in the glow so intensely that you stopped prospecting for new ones, or when a budding romance felt so perfect you neglected the small gestures that kept it alive. We humans love to nest in our victories, building mental fortresses around them, forgetting that nothing in life is etched in stone. The maze, much like the unpredictable tides of existence, has other plans, brewing a lesson in impermanence that will test their very cores. The pivotal dawn arrives unannounced, shattering the illusion. Sniff and Scurry scamper to Cheese Station C as usual, their routines unbroken, only to confront bare walls where abundance once reigned. Not a single morsel remains, just the faint, musty odor of what was. Do they collapse in despair, questioning the cosmos or blaming unseen forces? Not these two. Sniff's nose confirms the inevitable. The cheese had been aging, its essence fading long before this moment, and Scurry, without a word, pivots on his heel, launching them both back into the maze's embrace. They dart through familiar paths and venture into uncharted ones, undaunted by the occasional wrong turn that leads to emptiness. Imagine their lithe forms weaving through the gloom, hearts buoyed not by certainty but by the innate trust in their abilities to adapt. Wrong corridors become learning opportunities, not failures. Each step forward reignites the primal thrill of discovery. Their approach is a beacon. In a world obsessed with planning and prediction, sometimes the best strategy is to act swiftly, letting instinct guide you through the storm. How many times have we overthought a setback, a failed project, or a personal rejection, when a simple pivot could have opened new doors? Hem and Haw, arriving leisurely as has become their habit, are blindsided by the void. The station, once a symphony of scents and textures, now mocks them with silence. "Who moved my cheese?" Hem roars, his voice reverberating like a thunderclap, fists clenched in righteous indignation. Haw stands frozen, his mind reeling as denial washes over him like a cold wave. They rummage through the corners, half expecting a hidden stash or a cruel prank, but the truth dawns mercilessly. It's gone. Hem unleashes a torrent of complaints. "This is outrageous. We've earned this. Someone must pay. His anger a shield against the vulnerability bubbling beneath. Ha! Ever the more introspective one, floats the idea of exploring anew. Maybe there's more out there if we look, but Hem shuts it down with a snarl, insisting that patience will restore their loss, that the cheese will magically reappear. As days bleed into a monotonous cycle of return visits, their bodies weaken from hunger, their spirits dim from repetition. Ha's suggestions grow tentative, met with Hem's escalating resistance. Change? Why us? We've done everything right. It's a poignant mirror to real-life inertia. Think of the worker in a dying industry who ignores automation's rise, or the partner in a fading relationship who denies the cracks, preferring familiar pain over unknown growth. Have you ever found yourself in that trap? Revisiting the same empty well, hoping for a miracle that never comes? The narrative tugs at your empathy, urging you to examine your own patterns of denial. Time wears on, and the stagnation becomes unbearable. Ha! In a quiet moment of self-reflection amid the echoing emptiness, begins to chuckle at the absurdity. Their daily pilgrimage to nothingness, like addicts chasing a high that's long evaporated. This isn't living. It's just existing, he whispers to himself. A flicker of insight ignites. He grabs a shard of rock and scratches into the wall. If you do not change, you can become extinct. The words stare back at him, a stark warning that resonates beyond the maze, echoing evolutionary truths and business maxims alike. Mustering every ounce of resolve, Ha slips into his dusty shoes, his pulse thundering as he peers into the yawning corridor ahead. The maze feels more foreboding now. Shadows twist into monstrous shapes. Every rustle amplifies his isolation. But he takes that first step, then another, momentum building like a snowball down a hill. Early on, he stumbles upon scant nibbles of cheese scattered in forgotten nooks, morsels that revive his strength and affirm his choice. These finds prompt deeper rumination. The old supply at Station C had been dwindling for weeks, the mold creeping, the flavors dulling, but blinded by comfort, they'd ignored the omens. How could we be so blind? He ponders. A query that pierces the heart of human oversight, from ignoring health warning signs to overlooking relationship red flags. As Ha delves deeper, confronting the labyrinth's tricks, dead ends that mock his progress, inclines that test his endurance, he grapples with the monster of fear head-on. What would you do if you weren't afraid? He asks the empty air, and the answer surges through him like adrenaline. He'd run faster, explore bolder, embrace the unknown with open arms. To combat the doubts, he paints vivid mental pictures of triumph. A new station overflowing with cheeses of unparalleled delight. His body nourished, his spirit soaring. This visualization isn't mere fantasy. It's a psychological anchor, much like athletes who rehearse victories in their minds or entrepreneurs who manifest breakthroughs through sheer belief. It transforms terror into fuel, turning the maze from enemy to ally. Along one wall, he inscribes another gem. Smell the cheese often, so you know when it is getting old. A call to proactive awareness. Regularly assessing your job satisfaction, your partnerships, your goals, to catch decay before it consumes you. Consider how this applies to modern life. In a fast-paced tech world, skills obsolete overnight if unchecked, or in personal wellness, where neglecting routine checkups can lead to crises. Doubts aren't banished entirely. They lurk like shadows. Ha second-guesses his solo venture, wondering if abandoning him was selfish. So he backtracks with a precious bit of new cheese clutched in hand. Taste this, it's real, and there's more where it came from, he pleads, eyes pleading for his friend to join the rebirth. Hem, entrenched in his misery, turns away with a grimace. That's not my cheese. I want the original back. This new stuff, it's probably inferior. The rejection stings, but Ha grasps a crucial truth. Change is an individual odyssey. You can extend a hand, but forcing the grip only breeds resentment. Solitude sharpens his resolve as he presses on, his steps lighter, his mindset shifting from survival to savoring. He carves. Movement in a new direction helps you find new cheese. It's a nod to the magic of momentum, How starting a new hobby after heartbreak or pivoting careers post-layoff uncovers hidden gems. As he navigates, he learns to laugh at missteps, viewing them as plot twists in his epic rather than defeats. The quicker you let go of old cheese, the sooner you find new cheese. He etches next, a liberating mantra for releasing grudges, outdated dreams, or toxic ties that no longer serve. The journey isn't linear. There are plateaus where exhaustion tempts retreat, but Haas's growing wisdom sustains him. He reflects on how fear, amplified in isolation, often dwarfs the actual peril, much like public speaking jitters that evaporate once on stage. Another inscription: when you move beyond your fear, you feel free. It's empowering, evoking stories of real people who've leaped. The single parent returning to school amid uncertainty, emerging empowered, or the artist quitting a stable job to pursue passion, finding fulfillment in the risk. Haas's transformation is palpable. He moves with purpose, sniffing out paths with Sniff-like acuity, scurrying with Scurry's zeal. He even experiments, trying new routes that once intimidated, discovering that variety spices the quest. Think of it in dietary terms. Sticking to old cheese might mean a monotonous routine, while venturing brings nutritional riches, new experiences that nourish the soul. At long last, after a gauntlet of trials that forge his character like fire tempers steel, Ha erupts into Cheese Station N, a utopia dwarfing the old one, with towers of cheese in exotic blends, tangy blues veined with flavor, nutty goudas aged to perfection, even experimental fusions that delight the senses. And there, already indulging, are Sniff and Scurry, their uncomplicated paths having delivered them swiftly. Ha dives in, the tastes exploding like fireworks, but he pauses to absorb the lessons. He could have withered in Station C's ghost, like Hem, but instead he bloomed. To immortalize his insights, he adorns the walls with a gallery of wisdom. Change happens. They keep moving the cheese, acknowledging life's relentless flux. Anticipate change. Get ready for the cheese to move, urging foresight over reaction. Monitor change. Smell the cheese often so you know when it is getting old, for vigilant self-audits. Adapt to change quickly. The quicker you let go of old cheese, the sooner you can enjoy new cheese, emphasizing speed's rewards. Change, move with the cheese. A directive to flow rather than fight. Enjoy change. Savor the adventure and enjoy the taste of new cheese, turning necessity into joy. Be ready to change quickly and enjoy it again. They keep moving the cheese, a cycle of perpetual readiness. Even in abundance, Ha remains alert, sniffing daily, shoes at the ready, ears perked for distant echoes. Perhaps Hem's hesitant steps? The ambiguity lingers, a clever hook that invites us to envision possibilities. But the parable's magic extends beyond the maze, snapping back to the reunion where Michael's friends dissect it like treasure hunters poring over a map. Angela, a marketing exec, recounts her Hem-like resistance during a brutal company merger. I fought every policy shift, convinced it was doom. But when layoffs loomed, I adapted, learned new software, networked furiously, and landed a promotion in the revamped structure. It was terrifying at first, like stepping off a cliff, but the view from the other side? Breathtaking. Her story sparks nods. It's relatable to anyone who's navigated corporate upheavals, where clinging to old hierarchies spells obsolescence. Nathan, the entrepreneur, confesses his scurry tendencies in his family bakery business. I charged ahead with expansions, ignoring market whispers about health trends. When gluten-free demands surged, we nearly crumbled. Now, I sniff consumer data weekly, adapting recipes on the fly. Our sales have doubled. He laughs, adding how the book inspired team workshops, where employees role-played the characters, fostering empathy and agility. Carlos shifts to personal terrain. My marriage was stale cheese, comfortable but flavorless. Fear kept me static, but visualizing a fuller life pushed me to communicate openly. We moved with the cheese, trying counseling and new adventures. Now it's richer than ever. His vulnerability opens the floodgates. Jessica shares a tech upgrade fiasco at her firm. Half the team hemmed and hawed, resisting the new system. We circulated the book, started wall writing sessions with sticky notes of insights. Resistance melted, productivity soared, and morale? Through the roof. The conversation delves deeper into change's psychology. Why does it terrify us so? Frank posits it's the loss of control, the plunge into ambiguity, amplified by societal pressures to appear unflappable. But as Haw discovered, imagined fears eclipse real ones. What if we ritualized asking, "What would I do without fear?" Daily, they brainstorm applications. In health crises where a diagnosis demands dietary overhauls, sniffing out symptoms early, adapting routines swiftly. In finances, amid economic volatility, monitoring investments like cheese freshness, pivoting portfolios before crashes. In friendships, when drifts occur, letting go of toxic ties to embrace new connections. Laura offers a heartrending example. Post-divorce, I was pure bitter, replaying grievances. This story nudged me to Haw mode. I explored hobbies, traveled solo, and found a self-love that no relationship could match. It's liberating. They swap more tales. A teacher adapting to remote learning during pandemics, turning dread into innovative engagement. A retiree sniffing out post-career purposes, volunteering and discovering untapped passions. Michael steers the dialogue to broader impacts. In my company, we faced digital disruption, old models crumbling. Embracing the parable, we anticipated shifts, trained staff proactively, and celebrated adaptations with cheese parties for milestones. Results? Innovation exploded, retention improved, and we outpaced competitors. They ponder global parallels. How nations hem during cultural shifts, or how industries scurry in tech revolutions. Imagine if leaders sniffed geopolitical changes early. Someone muses. The group challenges each other with probing questions. What's your old cheese right now, a habit? A belief? Are you monitoring it? Or waiting for it to vanish? If change knocked tomorrow, would you scurry or hem? The energy crackles, ideas flowing like wine, each participant leaving with a personal action plan, perhaps journaling daily insights or sharing the story with loved ones. As the reunion disperses amid hugs and promises to reconnect, the essence crystallizes. This isn't just a mouse tale. It's a blueprint for human resilience. Back to you, intrepid listener, as we emerge from this immersive odyssey through mazes both literal and metaphorical. Survey your own landscape. What cheese has been relocated in your world? A career detour that felt like sabotage, a friendship's fade that left a void, or a societal upheaval that redefined norms. The core revelation shines brightly. Change is the only constant, a force not to battle but to befriend. By foreseeing its approach, releasing outdated anchors with grace, and diving into fresh pursuits with gusto, we transcend mere endurance to embrace exuberant growth. Envision your personal cheese station N, brimming with vibrant opportunities, deeper connections, a self forged in the fires of adaptation. Stronger, wiser, alive with possibility. So, pause amid your day. What resistance holds you captive? What bold step beckons if fear dissolved? Lace those metaphorical shoes, heed the maze's call, and let this narrative propel you. The greatest adventures await those who move, not just with the cheese, but beyond it, into realms of endless wonder.